Wow, what a day we've had. It's been rather good. I've been sitting at the back, and can I thank Doreen, Leila, Kamlesh, Ed, Jan, Emma, Samira, Esther, Sergio, James, and Richard. There's 11 of them. What a hockey team, eh? It's great. So, but what I was reflecting, it's been interdisciplinary, hasn't it? It's been really great. Because what we've seen is a blend of patients, Jan, academics, regulators, industry, and trade bodies all coming to this. And I think that is an important message. So, and I quite like Ed's, I'll come to Ed's for the framing of it. But this is about partnerships. What we've heard today is about partnerships. It's about principles and best practice. And it's also about doing stuff. Case studies, which we've seen in the latter half of the afternoon, we really brought it to life. So, I've really enjoyed the afternoon. So the title of my talk is The Art of the Possible, the Future of Public Engagement with Data for Research and Statistics. So thank you for that very dry title. So just a few thoughts. And it's a bit like, do you know when the Chancellor announces the budget and then the Shadow Chancellor has to stand up and say and respond immediately? I feel in that, because I'm going to try and weave in what we've heard today. So the first reflection is the humanity around this. You know, research is fundamentally a human pursuit driven by curiosity and an inherent desire to understand the complexities of our world and to improve the human condition. And that's why we're here. Research and statistics are to improve the human condition. Indeed, a guy called Paul Broder, who used to write for the New York Times, there's a famous quote he had, which was, Ed, I hope you're writing this down, "Statistics are human beings with the tears wiped off," which I quite like. So this is a human pursuit. The second point is that we're at an inflection point. It's an inflection point. And I think we're at the fusion of science. What do I mean by that? We're at the fusion of biological sciences, which we heard from Richard, with physical sciences, computational sciences, medical sciences, and social sciences. And if we really are going to harness the benefits of data and research and reduce the risks, we're going to have to get that chemistry right across the sciences. And I would argue sciences are absolutely key, because the social sciences, because today a common thread through every talk was demonstrating trustworthiness and how do we formulate principle-based governance approach to the way we do work. So the second is that inflection point. The third reflection is three-letter acronyms, because we have OSR, who we love, we have ONS, who we love, we have the BBC, we all love, but we now have TQV. So trustworthiness, quality, and value. And I think that is a lovely framing for what we're trying to do. It's public engagement for the purpose so that we improve quality and improve value in our pursuit to benefit humanity. So my third reflection was three-letter acronyms. My fourth reflection, my goodness, this is complex. It's the increasing complexity. And two dimensions of complexity which have really been illustrated today were firstly the cross-sectoral complexity. Because I'm a doctor, and in my world 30 years ago, it was very linear and vertical. You know, the data I looked at was usually just on a patient-by-patient level in my clinic. But now we've got data at scale across those verticals, and we've got data at scale across multiple verticals. You know, we heard from Emma, I don't know if she's still here, about Ministry of Justice data and the linkage to education and outcomes data. So that complexity is just mind-boggling. And then there's the complexity of computational complexity of machine learning, artificial intelligence, and the uncertainties about how we deploy those in a trustworthy way and communicate that. So the complexity was my fourth reflection. There are only 53 reflections. But my fifth is diversity and opportunities to improve inclusion. It was Ban Ki-moon who said, "Leaving no one behind is our generation's moral imperative to dismantle barriers to progress through development, human rights, peace and security for all." And we in our community mustn't leave anyone behind. So I thought the two talks that we had from Leila and Kamlesh were wonderful. Now, I learned a lot. There are no words for BMI or prostate in Punjabi. Is that right? I don't know if Kamlesh is still here. Is that right? And I hadn't thought about the people, the Egyptian comment. I think that's right. I'm going to impress you now. Ya Basha. Ya Basha. So yeah. So that's, well, I used to travel to the Middle East a lot, and there are so many dialects in the Middle East, and if you say Yabasha to someone who's from it, it's a sign of great respect. So yeah, it's a great word. People in Scotland think it's Glaswegian, but it's not. But Yabasha is. So I thought that was a great comment. But we need to think about how we systematically improve how we collect information in a scalable way, and think about Kamlesh's point, training and instructions of how to collect data reliably. So I think that's... My sixth comment is there's a risk of this being a cottage industry, because there's lots of little projects. How do we scale? How do we make this stick? And a phrase I use, how do we play further up the pitch? And I think PEDRI is a fantastic initiative, but we're in the foothills of where we need to be. How do we make this? And the comments around how do we amplify and extend the reach of how we use data for research and statistics so that we increase awareness, social awareness of what, why, who, and how, because only then will we strengthen the social contract with the publics. And we need to inform all actors in the society about why we use data and research, statistics in the world they live in. So I think thinking about how we avoid being a cottage industry, how do we scale? So that's my seventh reflection. Is we've now got these good practice standards, but as a community, what are the big questions so that we have examples of them being really useful? Should we have driver projects which answer really knotty issues which affect us all? How do we work in partnership with industry in a trustworthy way to enable data access? That's a big cross-sectoral issue. What's our approach to trustworthy international data sharing? Because we'll need to do that. How should data be monetized? Because it is monetized, and these are knotty issues in a trustworthy way with public benefit. Who should define what the public interest test is? What is in the public interest? These are big issues. And I think framing of some of these questions under PEDRI could be a real opportunity for us. They're hard issues. And also, Richard's talk on AI. I liked your slide around the sole decision making. How do we stop AI dehumanizing care and the relationship between the individual and society? So there's some big questions we could consider. The eighth reflection is how we get on the front foot in terms of novel ways to demonstrate trustworthiness and to show, I like the comment in the last session, to show that we care. So I take the number 159, the Marylebone bus home. So I'm going to go on to the top floor tonight and start talking about data and see what sort of looks I get, actually. But what novel ways can we democratize access to this? And finally, it's about, I think coming together as partnerships to do this, but also thinking about those principles. It was Deming who said, in God we trust, but all others must bring data, which I quite like. Deming was the father of the TQI, Total Quality Improvement. Do you remember after the war in Japan, the very efficient way they run? So Deming is a bit of a father figure of data statistics. But finally, it's about values, and to quote Gandhi, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. And I think that's what we're trying to do here, is to harness the huge opportunity of data statistics for research for societal benefit, but work with the publics so that we get, because most things in life are about risk-benefit, so let's maximize the benefits and minimize the risks as much as we can. So those are just a few thoughts, but I think we had a great hockey team today of 11 people presenting, and could you join me in thanking them?